Okay, this is day 74. Igor Sushchin. Just think of such a chin, such a chin, such a chin, such a beautiful chin. Yeah, just think of Igor Sushchin. Igor Sushchin is going to be your Russian hacker of the day. Here's the news. If you haven't seen my tweet this morning about the Huma Abedin story that Luke had in Daily Caller, I said Discovery makes Boy Scouts of us all. Go ahead, leak to Luke. I just want documents out. Smile, and I mean that. I could care less if Luke gets the Pulitzer. All I want is those documents out. Huma Abedin forwarded passwords to Yahoo, to her Yahoo account, which she knew was going to be hacked by foreign agents. This is literally like a bank teller leaving the combination of the bank safe on a table that she knows a safecracker is sitting at the Starbucks. I mean, it is as close to actually being a part of the Ocean's 11 conspiracy as you can get. If you haven't seen the text of the article, this is Gateway Pundit that reprinted it. And it talks about how this hacker here, Igor Sushchin, had hacked 500 million email accounts, Yahoo email accounts. So now we have the answer to the Yahoo email account. It was Sushchin. It was Sushchin. He did get the passwords from Huma Abedin. This is what I'm saying is the records are there. This will come out in Discovery. It's better to leak it to Luke now. Fine by me. I don't care. Now everybody knows the secret of the 500 million Yahoo accounts. Boom. And it's going to keep happening with Discovery. This is just starting. This is just starting. All the hacks, OPM hacks, the hack in Fort Belvoir, all of them are going to come down in the next 30 days for this exact same reason. Now, we're going to find out if Sushchin had ever been into Maryland. We're going to find out. We don't know if the passport system that went down yesterday was to clean out the old records of Russians coming in and out. If you'd ever been to Centreville, you don't need a passport to get into Centreville. You can just come in on, I'm not saying Pat Crowley's boat, but a boat like Pat Crowley's. You could get in. He's the representative from New York in Jackson Heights. Just kidding you, Pat. Just kidding you. So let's just go here real quick. I might have had it completely backwards in the proximity analysis. I was looking at it more from a historical perspective, looking at Laher being here, a P-Tech guy, and this programmer guy. And that, to me, when I see the guy who runs the whole show, who's not really a terrorist, that they're trying to make out to be a terrorist, and he's a programmer, I say they're trying to get jobs or small companies or small ventures for P-Tech or a derivative of P-Tech. And it's just the opposite of what I said. You land at Dulles when you're first coming to Dulles. You then go to this. Here's Imran's place. It's literally within a mile that you first land and get settled. Then you move on to the Fuqua Institute, okay, where you're going to learn how to do phones and learn how to do laptops, right? Again, this isn't something that Imran hasn't done before with bringing in Rayo Abbas or bringing in Hasib Rana. And then you move up to your first kind of apartment, which is going to be this apartment over here on Courtyard Square. And then you can literally walk over here to the big shop, the big table, where everybody builds phones and does laptops together. Again, this 12,000 Leesburg Pike is associated with this guy who's the super programmer. Now, I don't know if it's a hackathon or what they used to call in Washington, D.C., packathons. There were so many Pakistani ISIs. They were state-sponsored. I think the State Department sponsored them, or the FBI sponsored them, and they were called packathons. So I don't know if these are packathons, where somebody goes up to the whiteboard and says, here's how you discover this, and here's how you do, vulnerability attacks, and here's how you do that, and here's how you do this. So I'm not saying I know exactly what happens here at 12,000 Leesburg Pike, or if it still happens there, but I'm just saying what it looks like, okay? And it just kind of follows this fall line. And then when you're ready to, when we get you an Oasis small bid, or we get you a PAX, or we get you a TABS or an Oasis small entity loan, then you go to work here at Brilliant down in Reston or one of these other companies around one of the Awan properties. okay, for the different government agencies. So here we're walking, actually, we're landing at Dulles. I, for some reason, didn't upload the halal barbecues with the sugar being removed. For some reason, I didn't upload that video. It was very cold and my hands were not working well. But here's where I first learned. This is kind of like the training wheels. If you look at it, it's only got a section. This is the place with the Christmas tree. This is the 803rd Street in Herndon. Again, P-TECH has strong ties to Herndon, Virginia, and this address. This is Laher's address, associated with this address. I didn't associate it with the P-TECH. Laher associated it with P-TECH, right? So here we go. This is my first house, you know, and if we look at the patterns of all the people who we talked to, the neighbors, they all said, hey, everybody was here for like a month or 2 or 3, and then they moved on. It's kind of like the circular house, and everyone was receiving these Amazon packages, right? That way they don't have to go to the store, you know, for everything they need. Everything comes via Amazon to the house, 0 footprint. And then here is, if you haven't seen it, this is the actual place that's associated with P-TECH. And I say, is this the P-TECH Law School? This is task force. No, see, there's all filing cabinets and so forth. If you noticed inside, this isn't. I mean, this is the cleanest home that ever had 2 children. It's not. It's obviously more of a school type environment setting. When task force looked in the window, that's kind of the setting it had. And it's got all these parking spaces. It's kind of more set like a school.
Yeah, here it doesn't say no trespassing. No one answers the door.
And these bikes literally looked like they'd been. It looked like this car had backed up and literally they had brought these bikes out and just had set them there. You know, there was no other signs of, you know, usually you have little, you know, stickers in the window or something that shows that you have kids. Or there's, you know, kids spill stuff and it just didn't have any of the wear and tear of kids. It just looked like this car had backed up. I'll go back here a little bit. This car had backed up, and I tried to block the license plate. Had backed up and just had dumped this stuff on the front, and it was still looked like it was being used as a school. Now, Herndon, Virginia is very built up. It's a big defense contractor center, but yet this is a very secluded entry. Okay, it's really hard to see, and there's this berm here where you can't see from Leesburg Pike. It's definitely kind of has this remote feel. Very expensive. This kind of property in Herndon, Virginia is very expensive. Okay, and this is where I think you end up when you get your first deal. This is before you get your own company, but you go to work for Brilliant, and you work for PAX, and you work for Tabs, and you work for Oasis, these 3 programs, and you kind of learn those systems, and then you learn kind of how to then beat the system, right? It's kind of like going to alarm school before you become, you know, you're on your own a car thief. And that actually may be the modus operandi for the other rat line that we haven't really talked about. But this is really where the metadata is taking us. And when I kind of drilled down to James Corbett and the report that he did on P-TECH here, and this Indira Singh, I'll just play a little clip of it.
To a companies whose software is utilized at the highest levels of almost every government and military and defense organization in this country, including the Secret Service, the FBI, the Department of Defense, the House of Representatives, the Treasury Department, the IRS, the U.S. Navy, the U.S. Air Force, and last but not least, the Federal Aviation Administration.
Are you saying these were all P-TECH clients?
These were all P-TECH clients, and when I was evaluating them, I was pretty impressed. Why not P-TECH? Exactly. They're being used at the highest levels of all of these organizations. So I was very excited about using them and having their software be able to be at the heart of what I wanted to develop. And I had no reason to believe that if they were in use everywhere at that caliber, that I would have a problem. And they're also used in Enron, perhaps. I should have thought twice about that, but they're at use in IBM, of course, and the top accounting firms, and even in the FBI. in MITRE.
What is MITRE?
MITRE is a large company that does specialized technology for defense and intelligence. You would not expect to have an exposure with a company that was so well entrenched and embedded in these kinds of organizations.
Then did you start investigating the company?
Yes. What happened next was I spoke with Jeff Goins, and he told me that basically not only was Yasin Kadi was an investor, but that a Yakub Mirza was on the board of directors, and he had been the subject of Operation Green Quest. Many of his Herndon, Virginia vehicles and companies and financing companies had been raided in March 2002. And again, that Mirza was on the board of directors. As we spoke, other names started to come out. My head was pretty much spinning at this point, and I said, have you reported any of this to the FBI? And the answer came back, yes. So I wrote a report to the FBI, and I said, okay, if the Boston FBI has been told, I need to speak with people there, because it's not...
So you can see right now that this FBI relationship with P-TECH has gone on. This interview was 2008, so it's gone on all the way back to 2001. This is the Bob Mueller relationship. This is the Rosenstein relationship. This is the Andy McCabe relationship. This is this 16-year relationship that we've had with this P-TECH. The Awans are a derivative of this P-TECH. And if you look at the MO, it's always raid the people that you have in as your color of law operation so that you can keep control and look like you're actually doing something in terms of law enforcement. When in actual fact, these people are giving the passwords out and you're making money with them in a color of law operation.